It's the same story as yesterday, a little bit more refined, still looking at a lot of rainfall with the emphasis for areas south and east of Springfield getting the most. But we've already had from morning and afternoon rains, reports of over 2 inches in the area. So this is only going to get worse. There are several rounds of rain that are expected between now. This is being recorded about 5 o'clock on a Friday and Sunday morning. So this is the precipitation forecast. Springfield sits right here, and we are slated to get about 3 inches of rain total. So we already have almost 2/3 of that accumulated in some areas already. So that may need to be tweaked a little bit. You start getting into this area right here. That's the 4 inch, and then this area here, this shading, that's the 7 inch. I'm sorry, that's the 5. This is the 7 right here, 7 inches of rain. Then we have a little bullseye down here in north central Arkansas where we have 10 inches of rain. So that's all falling in several waves. And right now the second wave is developing across the area. And I'll show you the watch in effect for that on the severe weather side in just a minute. Take a look at the flood watch, not a shock here where that is located. Very much in line with about the 3 inch quantitative precipitation forecast and greater. So that's the advisories here, and there have been already some flash flood warnings in effect for certain areas, and I would say that will continue to pop up in various counties throughout the next 48 hours for sure. Now there is also a severe weather outlook here in Springfield. We're in a slight risk, which is the second category here out of 5. Yeah, hail would be the threat I think that we would see the most, but mostly it's a heavy rain situation for us. But if you start getting into this enhanced area here, which is the kind of the orange shading, and into this red, which is the 4 out of 5 rating, so north central Arkansas, including West Plains, south central Missouri, you could have some gusty winds. And if you go deeper into this red area here, we do actually have a tornado threat worth noting. So we have a 15% tornado risk that includes Mountain Home, Arkansas, almost includes Harrison, just about includes West Plains, and then areas east and south from all those points. So the majority of southwest Missouri not under a threat of that, but for a certain little pocket here, and I'll show you a radar forecast in a minute, you'll see what I mean. That it is possible. As a matter of fact, a tornado watch is currently in effect. Remember, this is being recorded at 5 o'clock. This is in effect till 9. It did not go into south central Missouri quite yet, but I would watch for possible extensions of that depending on how the radar develops. And also we're watching the unstable air and where that ends up, how far north it goes, and we'll take a look at some model data here coming up. This is the radar as it is looping shortly before 5 o'clock on Friday evening, and you can see these areas that are outlined in the bright green, these polygons. Those are already severe thunderstorm, flash flood warnings that have been issued. So a good chunk of the Ozarks under a flash flood warning right now. And so some of those storms that you see there around West Plains are not severe as of yet. But I think as you go further south, as a matter of fact, I look at some of these echoes down here, right along Highway 65, that sure is looking a little more mean, just right across 65 around Marshall and Leslie there. There's a hail indicator on that storm. Some of these storms here are probably elevated, meaning they're hail producers, maybe some gusty winds. Those would be heading for the Branson area here in the next couple of hours. I don't see any evidence of tornadic circulation with those yet. However, if you go deeper into Arkansas and watch, you'll notice these storms are moving from south-southwest to north-northeast. So you'd be looking down here to see what's coming up into north central Arkansas and southern Missouri. So we already see some severe thunderstorm warnings. There are no tornado warnings yet, but again, there's signs that these storms are starting to organize. And if we go way down into Arkansas, you see some tornado warnings with the purple indicating tornadoes were reported already. Now that's way down there, just to the northwest of Texarkana and to the west of Shreveport. But again, the motion is almost due north, so those probably wouldn't hit south central Missouri. But some of these that are forming around Highway Interstate 40, they may, depending on what happens with this leading line. So again, it's just an area to watch. I already outlined where I think you should be watching for real severe weather. And of course, all these are heavy downpour producers, and that will tend to fill in with time. I expect all of the Ozarks to have just steady, heavy rain by tomorrow morning, certainly as the system begins to ramp up with maybe another round after that. We'll take a look at the HRRR model, the high resolution model, and some precipitation output. And so, generally speaking, if you just kind of watch this area here, you see there are two bands of thunderstorms, and that's just what I showed you on radar. There's this one, and then there's this one with the last one I drew, the more easterly area, probably more prone to greater severe weather chances. I'll go again. Springfield wasn't out of it. We were in that kind of 1 or 2 category out of 5. Hail, I think, would be the main thing. Maybe some gusty winds. And as you watch, this is 6 p.m., 7 p.m., you'll notice that some of the rotating updrafts, that's these little gray areas that are showing up, are well off to the southeast, even east of West Plains. If that works out, that's good news, because those would be the tornado producers right there. But again, I'm not exactly certain that we can count on this particular model output. Radar, as simulated by models, is okay. In short term, it works pretty well. But I wanted to want you to watch how this moves out. And there's a temporary break in the rain across Springfield, and then watch what happens toward the end of this frame. This is 8 a.m. tomorrow, 9 a.m. tomorrow. So we got this other huge area of precipitation moving up from the south and from the southwest. So that's going to overtake much of southwest Missouri. That'll dominate Saturday morning for sure. So here's a look at instability, and the good news is this is surface-based, which is really, if you look at this for tornado development, really want there to be good high surface-based cape. This is just an instability measure. You notice on this model data that this really builds in northeast Arkansas, but really doesn't spread very far to the north. So actually, southwest Missouri, even south central Missouri, is not really forecast to be in the greatest unstable air, but certainly in the northeast corner of Arkansas and Boot Hill, that is going to be a problem, certainly. That is surface-based CAPE. If you look at most unstable CAPE, that takes into account the whole depth of the atmosphere. Then you start seeing some indicators across southern Missouri. It's not crazy by any means, but there at least is more instability in the middle part of the atmosphere above a layer of cooler air. So that's why we will get a few severe thunderstorms possibly in that area, especially around West Plains into the adjacent areas of north central Arkansas. But even that gets shunted away as we get into the evening hours. And again, northeast Arkansas is where it's all going to kind of meet tonight. It's where all the storm chasers are headed, probably. But that's it right there. And so, yeah, we'll take a look now at the rainfall potential. And as you saw, I'm not expecting it to be much different from the QPF. Let's take a look at it. Now we're going to look at one model's idea of the precipitation expected from this. I switched from the high resolution to the NAM because it gives me totals of individual cities, and it's also goes out a little bit more into the future because I need it to go into Saturday night. So you can see what's already fallen. It's already kind of behind on that because we've got several reports already in this area of 2+ inches of rain. So keep that in mind. But as you go through here tonight, this is through evening. You're already starting to see some patches of yellow. This isn't the same scale as the other one. Yellow is 4 inches of rain. So you're starting to see that become more common. You start getting into those darker brown colors. This is Sunday. This is about 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. So you're already seeing some totals. There's a 6, almost 7-inch total there in Mountain Home, Arkansas. And we go through Sunday, and I think it's about done adding up. West Plains, for example, according to this model, is going to get about 7.5 inches of rain. And again, there is some variation in this type of thing, from place to place, but the overall pattern is pretty clear. And it looks like Springfield ends up with about 3.5 inches. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if that's off by about 1/2 inch or so, maybe getting that up to about 4 or so by the time all is said and done, this stops Sunday in the late afternoon, basically. And we'll stick with the NAM because it goes out the distance I need it to and see what it's accumulating for the snow that we were talking about. So here it comes out of Oklahoma. So right here, this is about 4 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. It gets into Springfield, about 10 a.m. Again, the odds of it accumulating drop as we get into the daytime. hours when the sun can filter through any clouds that still might be around. So accumulating snow is a lot more likely in the panhandle of Texas, in parts of Oklahoma, but time of day factors into this a little bit, so you can kind of see how it gets right into the southwest corner of Missouri and then stops. So this is also a rain snow mix. It's still on the line, but I just think it's interesting to talk about both the tornado threat, flash flooding, and flooding, and also a little bit of snow all within about a 48-hour period. Welcome to the Ozarks.